To the Midday Meltdown with J&J Video Reacts.
Good afternoon, fam. Please, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and smash the like and the subscribe button. It's good to have you here today. If you are listening at work or from home on your lunch break, welcome to the Midday Meltdown. I'm your host, Dawn James with J&J Video Reacts. We are J&J Video Reacts. We react to everything over here. Reality TV, real lit TV. And I was kind of getting on myself today because, I was watching a live stream last week from shout out to IC Green, Dwight, aka Dwight Scrap. And he inspired me because I am part of the LGBTQ community. I am married to a wonderful, wonderful woman, Veganowledge JJ. And I realized that, hey, I never really do any LGBTQ streams. I don't really represent, the family like that. I haven't really done anything that has, shown any pride in my allegiance to the family. But that's not why I'm doing it. It's one of the reasons, but it's not the only reason why I'm doing it. Hey, let's just do a stream about LGBT. No. But this particular topic spawned off of what IC Green was talking about, which was, people who have become transgender, judging those who have become transgender and all of that. And, I thought one topic of conversation that tends to raise a lot of confusion within the LGBTQ community is if you're transsexual, does that also equate to being gay? Or does transsexual mean are you gay or are you homosexual? Let's put it that way. Because in my understanding, the term gay is no longer politically correct. So we're going to go with homosexual. Me personally, I have been homosexual my entire life. I could walk. I always remember, and I was telling the story to Jen that, and I think I've mentioned this on the stream before. There's a picture of me as a baby. I couldn't have been more than 2-3 years old, and I'm standing in my grandfather's shoes, holding his fedora that he used to wear. And I remember feeling so at home. I remember always, both sides of the family, I would always jump in my grandfather. I would love their shoes. My dad's father, when I would go to visit them, I would jump in his shoes, and it was just something about dressing in male clothing that appealed to me. And I realized a little bit later on that it appealed to my nature. And some of you may think that it's unnatural. That's your opinion. But I am naturally masculine. I'm naturally more of a tomboy. And Jen and I were talking about this morning. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Veganowledge. for as long as she can remember, she can always remember being a huge tomboy. And you would think that, and let's not even go with the labels, two tomboys, that doesn't work out. Well, both of us have come into realizing that we have both had periods, because I was actually married to a male at one point. I tried it, didn't work out for me. Um, but we've both gone through periods of our life where we explored our femininity and let it come through and got more comfortable with it. And because of that, now we are both at a place in our lives, now that we're older, we've experienced walking both sides of that fence, and we've come into our own as who we are. And we realize that we have both masculine and feminine sides equally, as do a lot of men. You know what I mean? And some men choose to acknowledge it, some men don't. I applaud those who aren't afraid to explore their feminine side. Um, that's one of the things I loved about Prince. Prince is probably the only man I would have enjoyed having sex with if I would have given that opportunity. I don't know, it's something about him. Um, Let me make sure I'm not muted. Okay, because I will never get past that. I spent 20 minutes on mute the other day. Um, but I decided to tackle this controversial topic because it's something I've thought about, and I thought, well, that's a pretty interesting topic, and interesting in the way that people do tend to confuse transsexual with homosexual, meaning if you're transsexual, that means you sleep with the same sex. No, that is absolutely not what it means. Or if you're homosexual, that means you're transsexual. Because you're transitioning, you know. But they are they have nothing to do with one another. Sometimes they do. I'm not going to say never, but they don't mean the same thing. Transsexual is someone who, for all intents and purposes, does not enjoy being in the body that they were born in. Okay, has nothing to do with who they're attracted to sexually. It means I, and I'm using me as a hypothetical example, I feel like I should have been born a man, a boy, okay, because I love that. That is who I've always loved. um, Things that would have been considered masculine, masculine jobs, sports, toys, clothes, and I also had an attraction for all things feminine. It drew me in. And you'll find that most people naturally are attracted to femininity, even other women, whether they admit it or not. But and if there are any LGBTQ in here, shout out to you. Feel free to comment in the comment section. If you are not a subscriber, I suggest you hit that subscribe button so that you can comment. But if you know people who let's see, if you're transsexual, that means, like, take Ellen Page for example, okay, who is now Elliot Page. They decided at one point that this is not who I am. At my core, this is not who I am. And they took it to the level of becoming trans. They went from transsexual, which is I feel like I was born the wrong sex. I am inside and all about my core the other sex. That's me. I like those things. That's who I am on the inside. I feel more like a man or a boy, you know? Or if you're a male, I feel more like I am really a girl. And the funny thing is, oh man, I should have looked that up as research before I did this, but I just watched a story of a young man, David, oh man, what was his name? If someone's out there listening, please help me with this because you probably know who I'm talking about. It was a young man who was born a boy, and he had a circumcision that went terribly, terribly wrong. and he was made transgender when he was a baby. There was a doctor that, oh man, I just looked all this up the other day because I watched another stream where a gentleman was talking about it, and I had to go research the story. And it's been a couple weeks, so that it left me. But this young man was born a boy, and I know I'm veering off into a transgender convo here, but it kind of pertains to what we're talking about. And he, you know, as a baby, the doctor made the decision because he was researching transgender, and he was research. He said, "Hey, you know what? Here's the perfect test subject." His parents were at a loss; they didn't know what to do because his penis in the circumcision process was cut off completely, not circumcised. He was castrated, okay, accidentally. And this doctor took it as an opportunity to say, "Hey, listen, let's go ahead and clean this up and make him a girl. He doesn't know any better. He's an infant, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, what he's going to think he's a girl. Raise him as a girl." Since they messed up, they botched up. Let's clean it up, make him a girl, patch things up, and he'll be raised as a girl. Okay. Parents were like, okay, we don't know what else to do because we don't want to raise our son penisless and have him have to deal with that. So, yeah, we'll sign on the dotted line. We'll do that, and they did it. I feel like his last name begins with a C. You know what? What am I doing? We have access right here. Because that's driving me crazy. Actually, you know what? Instead of Googling it, we can just go on YouTube. I will go off camera while I'm doing this. All right. All right. Let's see here. I will be right there, guys. I'm going to go ahead while I'm looking this up and put that background music back on. I'm going to get these names. I should have done this beforehand. I'm sorry. But it's not like it's a bunch of people in the chat, so. David Reimer. That's his name. And he was a twin, David Reimer. Okay, so I'm not even going to go into the doctor's name because I think it was John something, but I'm not going to go on to that because that's not important. Shout out to Oprah Winfrey. She apparently had him on her show. So it was David Reimer. And David Reimer had a botched circumcision and he was made into a girl. And the long story short of that is that later on down the line, they had to try to he convince him because as he grew older, he was more attracted to masculine things. Okay. It was who he was on the inside. That's how it relates to this conversation that ultimately showed itself through. And he was playing with Tonka trucks and things like that. He was a boy on the inside. That's a real thing. Okay. Your frequency, your core. He was a boy on the inside. And he ultimately ended up getting himself changed back over into a man. But you can't, there's a difference. And here's the thing, the fact that he was changed into a girl, okay, he married a woman. He knew he was a boy on the inside and he married a woman. Later on, if you're confused about what transsexual is versus homosexual, just because you feel that you are the opposite sex on the inside does not also mean that you're attracted to the opposite sex or the same sex, shall I say. Okay. There are I remember watching Survivor and there was a gay transgender male on there. Zeke. Remember Zeke? Zeke was turned from a woman into a man, but Zeke was a gay male. Okay? That one is really freaky, okay? He felt that he was a man. He was born a woman but felt he was a man on the inside, but was attracted to men, but was initially born a woman. Right? That's one that really mess your mind up. Okay? He felt on the inside that he was a man, but he was attracted to men. So this woman wanting to be a man had nothing to do with her attraction for men. She wasn't attracted to women. She just knew on the inside that she was a man. That's just who she was. But it had nothing to do with her sexual orientation. That's where the confusion lies. You being who you are on the inside and wanting to be the opposite sex doesn't mean you're necessarily attracted to the same sex. Wanting to be the opposite sex doesn't mean you're attracted to the same sex, is the easiest way to put it. So therein lies the confusion. We've got some people in the chat, and as you know, I'm legally blind, so I'm going to go ahead and hey, sweetie. Thank you very much. Anyone who is watching this, give this a thumbs up. How come it looks like but yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you feel that you are and the opposite sex on the inside that you automatically are attracted to the same sex. Two totally different scenarios there. And I was hoping I would have some people in here to discuss who may have had that type of journey, to be able to come on and talk about something like that. But I can imagine the horror that David Reimer went through when he was made into a girl, but knew on the inside all along that he was a boy. And it was a terrible story because when he found out that he was actually born a boy, he was full of anger. And ultimately, he ended up committing suicide. Okay. And that's, it's not always a cool thing to talk about, but he ended up committing suicide because he just could not make the proper adjustments emotionally. And, um, he was a wreck. That messed his life up. And, that's why I give kudos to Elliot Page, because if she or he, I'm sorry, felt that that's who he was on the inside. And here's the thing. Elliot Page was married, okay? But it initially started out as a same-sex relationship, okay? Ellen Page was dating a woman. Ellen Page was a lesbian, is a lesbian. Was. Look, I'm even confusing myself. Was a lesbian as a woman, okay? And when she became transgender, her marriage dissipated. And you have to think about when you are transsexual, if you're living with the fact that you are feeling more like you're the opposite sex on the inside, and you feel the need to go ahead and get the transgender surgery done, more power to you. Who are we to judge that? Who are we to say you don't have the right to change your body? Because guess what? At the end of the day, the bottom line is you have to be happy with who you are. Because why? You're only here for 5 minutes. Why would you spend your entire life living your life as someone else if that's not who you feel like you are? Because you only get one of these. So you want to get it right the first time. And if it was like the analogy yesterday I gave, if you're, about the dealing with the fear of death, it's inevitable. So why would you spend your whole life eating shit when you could have a luscious meal for your life? The shit and the meal representing life, of course. Why would you allow yourself to feel bad all of the time? And transsexual people who are not living life as themselves are not happy. And, if they choose to become transgender, then so be it. But Ellen Page, when she was Ellen Page, was involved with a woman who they got married. And then when Ellen transitioned over into Elliot, well, it was no longer a lesbian relationship. She was no longer a woman, and her wife was attracted to women. And I guess you could say, well, if I wanted to marry a man, hey, I applaud you and I love you just the same. But if I wanted to marry a man, I would have married a man. I'm a lesbian. I want to be with women. You are now a man. So we can be friends. But the sex thing and the love thing, I can't get with that now, because you're not who I fell in love with. You are as a person, spiritually, emotionally, personality wise, but physically, that's not what I wanted. And you could argue that, okay, well, it's not always physical. You love the person. Well, hey, let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. That is a part of it. Okay, if you're not enjoying sex with your partner because you prefer having sex with the same sex, that's a thing. Okay, that the body, the attraction, the physical attraction. I just thought of, you know what? I'm gonna write that down. I just thought of a good live stream for tomorrow, because that's something that Jen and I always talk about on these reality shows that are talking about love and are matching people. And are matching people sight unseen sometimes. Okay, is physical attraction important? Which I think we know it is, As much as it seems superficial, it is a real thing. Veganowledge says this starts very early on. To some it's a phase, and and some it really happens at birth. Okay, yeah, I actually, well, I'm enjoying your opinion because your opinion and my opinion tend to be the same on a lot of things. And I personally know, and we've had this conversation, I personally know that from birth, I was who I was always. There was no transitioning into, or hey, I've had an experience with a woman. So yeah, let's go down that road. Or, gee, I wonder what that would be like. There was no curiosity there. This just always was who I was. And me being a tomboy didn't necessarily mean that I was attracted to women, but I was. There are plenty of tomboy women, or plenty of women who have masculine tendencies that are straight as an arrow. That's just their personality. Just like there are many men who have effeminate tendencies who are straight as an arrow, you know? And they don't like men. And you would think that they are because they're so feminine, but hey, maybe they were raised by women. Maybe they have, that's just who they are, but they don't necessarily feel the need to become a woman, or that they are a woman, or that they're attracted to men because they have a feminine side or a softer way of projecting themselves, you know? And there's so much confusion. And the bottom line is, who gives a fuck? Okay? Who cares? Again, we are only here for 5 minutes, guys. You have to take your life and cherish it and make sure that you're getting all out of it that you can get out of it, because you are only here for a minute. And if you are not making yourself happy, and this may sound selfish, but if you are not making your own well-being and happiness a priority, then you're probably going to be one of those people who takes your own life, and there are people who can live in misery. I'm not one of them. Okay, I came out um, as an out lesbian when I was in my early 20s. I met a young woman who I ended up getting involved in a 2-year relationship with. And I did a lot of growing in that relationship. I came straight from under my mom's roof into this gay relationship, and we lived together for 2 years, and it was great. She helped me open my first checking account, taught me how to drive on a stick, no less. Okay. No jokes there. Um, on a stick, she's taught me how to drive a stick shift. And, I'll never forget that relationship because it helped me learn a lot of adult things. And I'll tell you what, in that relationship, I was infatuated with her looks because she was very tall, very beautiful. She could have been a model. And she liked me. I'll never forget this. We worked at a place together, and she, took me out to lunch one day and would not let me out of the car until I admitted to being attracted to women, and that, that I liked her. And I was extremely shy. I was extremely shy because I was not used to someone being that aggressive coming on to me like that. But I knew since a kid, I had the little playmate and all of that. But with me, it was a permanent thing. It was a permanent thing because I knew way before I had those little trysts that that's who I was. And you can say, well, you were a baby and you were a kid. How do you know? Well, hey, it was who I naturally was. And so it was easy for me to slip into that, and to do that and carry it on. And I had plenty of opportunity. Once you get an opportunity, once you're grown, you can make that distinction. So if you know that that is more you, okay, because I went down the road of getting married to a man to see if I could live that lifestyle. And we have a beautiful daughter together, who now also has her own daughter, I have a beautiful granddaughter. And you know, and she tried it. She did the opposite. She tried the way that I'm living. She tried a gay lifestyle and she enjoyed it, but that was ultimately not where she ended up. And of course, she's only, 27. So she's got a long way to go. She may end up going back. But she ended up in a relationship with a man who she was very happy with for a long time, and they had a child together. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but who knows if she will go back to that? I don't know, but it's her choice. Whatever she does, it's her choice. This is her life that she has to live. Which reminds me of another topic. Because this was one that we were talking about on IC Green. She and I, unfortunately, are not on speaking terms. And she feels like she wasn't a priority in my life, is what I'm getting through the grapevine. So that's another conversation we'll have. I'll open up and be vulnerable about that, just like I was on his stream. I'll open up, and maybe there's somebody who has some advice on how she and I can reconnect. But trust me, I've tried everything, texting every day, sending videos, and having my sister talk to her because I'm in another part of the state. And that goes back to, again, making yourself happy. Apparently, she was not happy that I moved 2 hours away. Well, as much as I love my daughter, I had to make that move for myself, because at the end of the day, you only get one life. And if you are a person who knows that inside you are the opposite sex, you were not born who you feel most comfortable being, then you have to take those steps to make that a reality for yourself. Unfortunately, regardless of who it hurts around you. And that may sound selfish, but if you're not your best you, how can you be good for anybody else, for the world, for that matter? How can you contribute? How can you feel productive in your life if you are not who you feel like you should be? And that is what a transsexual is. I was born this way, but I feel like I am the opposite sex. Okay. And then you have the homosexual who is, I am this sex. I enjoy being this sex. I am okay with being the gender that I am, but I'm attracted to the same gender. I don't want to change my sex. I'm happy being a woman. And that, for me personally, is me. I'm okay with being a woman. Okay. But I am attracted to women. I am not attracted to male genitalia in any way, shape, or form. And I don't find it enjoyable. That's me. Okay. So that's the difference. Okay. And I will just continue to reiterate that. Being a transsexual, feeling like you're a different sex on the other side, on the inside, doesn't mean you like the same sex on the outside. That's two completely different things. But we got nobody coming in today, huh? Come on, don't be chicken shits. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it, because I know there are some of you out there that your ears got to be burning, or you want to say something about this. Why not? Speak your mind. But yeah, it's a shame too, because when we go through life and we allow ourselves to be label driven, and we put ourselves in boxes like that, it doesn't allow us to be who we really are. It doesn't allow us to be our best selves. I am living my best life, married to my person. As it turns out, Jen was my person. And it is a biracial marriage as well. So yeah, as far left on the minority scale as you can go, that would be us. Okay. Same sex, biracial. Okay, all right. They're going for all of it. My mom once told me my middle name was Controversy. Well, so be it. I didn't do it for controversy. I did it just because this is who I am, and that is who I fell in love with. So, And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I had the guts to be me. And I thank the universe every day for making me me. And I want to see more people be able to thank the universe for making them who they are and living in their proper skin, okay? And being who they want to be. Just know you got the support over here. Be you. Don't let anybody scare you from being you. When I did come out at 21, I did not come out to my family as homosexual. But everybody else around me, everybody in the workplace knew we were having an affair. Um, we started living together, and we would the friends that we associated with knew. We went out to gay clubs and things like that. And I wasn't worried about hiding from anybody. It just so happens I just did not have the conversation with my mother and my grandmother at the time, who were in the adults in my life at the time, you know. But one day I did. And the funny thing is, it happened once my marriage broke up. You know, I said, you know what? When I hooked up with this guy, I said, listen, I am a gay female. And he said, that's okay, that you have that history. I'm into you, and I feel like we have a chemistry. And I agreed with him that we did. And so we went on ahead and decided to get married and had a child, And as it turns out, he had violent tendencies. We were married 4 years, and as it turns out, there were like 2 or 3 occurrences of physical violence. So I left. There were 3, to be exact, and I left after the 3rd time. That's a whole nother stream. Do I give him 2 and 3 and 4 chances? No, you do not. But it also depends on the severity and the level of the aggressiveness as well. I was fooled because there were long periods of time in between these occurrences, and I'm going down a whole nother road, but we'll save that for another stream. But being happy is living your life on your own terms and not allowing others to judge you. And I know this is a controversial topic. It's a dangerous conversation to have because a lot of people out there are haters, and they come after people, but you can't live your life in fear. That's what we talked about yesterday. You cannot live your life in fear. That is a terrible place to be. That's like eating shit every day instead of eating whole natural food and enjoying what you're eating. If you're going to be here anyway, and you're ultimately going to die anyway, then the 5 minutes that you're here, you need to be happy. Because when it's all over, who cares? You're gone. You don't get that opportunity back. Why waste it being miserable? And a transsexual person who feels that they are the opposite sex on the inside, they live miserable lives if they're not carrying themselves. Now, here's the thing too. All transsexuals don't feel the need to become transgender. I am one of them. Okay. I'm a transsexual who does not feel the need to become transgender. Okay. And I know I'm a woman on the outside, and I appreciate that. But inside, I'm a dude all day long. It is what it is. My aura, my essence is very, very masculine. I have thoughts that are masculine thoughts all day long. I think I agree with men on a lot of subjects, but I also obviously agree with women on a lot of subjects, like, Roe versus Wade. Hey, you can't tell me not what to do with my body. There was a very, very compelling argument I saw on TikTok the other day about that, where a guy was saying, hey, you can't take a woman's right away to protect her body, So, that's 2 different things, and we don't need to beat a dead horse with this. 2 different things. Transsexual is somebody who is knowing inside that they are the opposite sex. Okay. Transgender is taking it one step further and actually becoming the opposite sex. Homosexual is somebody who likes the same sex. That can be a transgender, that can be a transsexual, that can be someone who is just straight up who they are. They like who they were born. They like the fact that they were born this sex, but they like the same sex. The transsexual, I am not this person on the inside. Okay. But I like the opposite sex, or I like the same sex. Okay. You can be a transsexual who feels, a transsexual woman on the inside who feels she's a man can still be attracted to men. And that was Zeke's case on Survivor. He was once a woman who felt he inside he was a man and became a man, but had an attraction for men. So that's not, he's now considered gay, but as a woman, he wouldn't have been considered gay because he had heterosexual tendencies. He was attracted to men, but felt like he was, she felt like she was a man on the inside. And you can say that that type of person is all kinds of screwed up, 50 shades of screwed up. No, that person knows who they are and has made a decision and was not afraid to be who they were. That person is living life at the utmost. And now can be a beacon for someone else who is going through the same thing and be there to help them and counsel them and talk to them, which I believe is what, Zeke does whenever he can, So shout out to Zeke. I remember when he was outed as a transgender on Survivor. That was crazy. That was for him to do, not for the other participant. And there was a whole big thing about that, but they made it through it. See, all things come to pass. Our lives, everything, all things come to pass. So don't get yourself hung up on anything negative. But, thank you, Veganowledge, sweetheart. I appreciate you so much for giving me the interaction in the chat that you did. It's good to see those interactions pop up there. I want to say shout out to my LGBT community. And hey, it is what it is. Let's be ourselves and let's be proud to be ourselves. And let's not judge anybody for choosing to be themselves. You need to be who you are. It's important. We need you to be who you are because being who you are is very powerful. And we need everybody at their A game with the world that we have today, because it's only us that can change it. It's only us that can make it a better world by being better versions of ourselves. And if that means that you have to live your lifestyle that is opposite to what the status quo is or what your society is telling you, then so be it. But you got to do you. I know firsthand. I do it every day. I'm me. And that is in conflict with a whole lot of bullshit, but you got to do you. You got to be you. And if this conversation is helping somebody, then that's why I was put here. I say that every day. I was put here to voice these things because I've gone through a lot in my life. And I feel like I can help a lot of people who may have gone through or are going through something, and know you got a friend in me. Okay, well, that's why I don't make my living as a singer, okay? But guys, have a peaceful, amazingly awesome day. And shout out to Veganowledge JJ. We do our vegan live stream on Mondays on her channel called Meatless Mondays. If you are interested in transitioning, speaking of trans, if you're interested in transitioning from a standard American diet over to a plant-based diet, check out her live streams on Mondays. It's called Meatless Monday. I will put a link to her channel in the description of this video. Those of you who are into meditation, I always talk about Dauchsy meditations, I will put a link to Dauchsy meditation in this stream. And I listen to Dauchsy subliminally at night. When you want to change your thoughts and you want to uh, become a better version of yourself, it has to start at a subconscious level. And listening to positive affirmations and life-changing affirmations while you're sleeping bypasses the gatekeeper of your conscious mind and hits home, gets straight to the subconscious. And it's from a subconscious level that we are able to make changes. So you have to reprogram your subconscious in order to in order to reprogram your conscious mind. And your conscious mind during the day acts like a gatekeeper, blocks out stuff. So you got to do it while you're sleeping. That's how you touch your subconscious mind. And you have to heal at that level in order for change to be effective. But yeah, that's another stream for another day. Thank you guys, those of you who have listened to the Meatless Monday. To the look, we got two streams, Jen. Meatless Monday and Midday Meltdown. Those of you who are gonna watch this on the replay game, please, 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 please leave me some comments on what you thought about this conversation. And if there are other topics that you would like me to cover, let me know in the comment section. All right. You guys have a beautiful and blessed day. Peace and blessings.